Hi, and welcome back. In my last video, I created an art making machine. It was a mostly successful experiment, but needs some re-engineering and fine-tuning. While I'm working on that, I thought I would try something different. In the past two videos in my Art That Moves series, I've made devices that spin or rotate. And this time around, I wanted to try something different. I wanted to create a device that would make art with a short burst of energy rather than a repeated mechanical motion. Now, as I say that, two devices come to mind. One is the rail system used for car crash tests. I realize that's not really a device meant to make art or do anything creative, but it does create a sort of beautiful chaos if you watch it at the right speed. The other device is a kitchen tool I've seen used countless times in the many food service jobs I've worked over the years. It's a heavy-duty vegetable chopper mostly used to make French fries. It's a really simple device. A weighted top section is slammed down using a mix of body weight and gravity to push a vegetable through a sharpened metal grate. I have a vision of a similar device slamming together two paint-covered canvases. I don't know what the resulting painting will look like, but hopefully I'll be able to create my own little bit of beautiful chaos. Or I might just make a huge mess. I guess we'll see. To make this device, I ordered two linear rails to guide the top canvas to the bottom canvas as it falls. These cost me almost $40, which makes them by far the most expensive component I've ever bought for one of these projects. They're pretty cool though. I guess that means I'm invested. I have to make something good now. So I have a general idea for the design I want, but before I start this relatively complicated build, at least as far as my channel is concerned, I want to make a cardboard prototype. Prototyping is an important part of the design process, and when I made this cardboard prototype, I was actually able to catch a pretty basic error I made in the measurements that would have been a headache to deal with later on. Once I had everything finalized, I was ready to start cutting and drilling. Early on in the build, I cut a few corners and eyeballed some things that I should have measured out more precisely. This meant that one of the arms didn't line up quite right with one of the rails, but as long as the rails are vertical and parallel, I could care less about how it looks. Next, I needed to attach the rails to the smashing plate. This part needed to be precise, so I actually bought a drill guide to make sure everything lined up the way it needed to. The drill guide turned out to be a good investment, and everything came together pretty much perfectly. I finally finished this crazy thing, and I have to say it is about the most diabolical thing I have ever made. Doesn't that even sound kind of scary? So, just in the interest of not breaking this thing that I just built, I have a little bit of padding I'm going to put down. It's also going to slightly soften the noise that it makes, but this thing is loud. If my downstairs neighbors are currently watching this, I apologize profusely. Pretty gnarly. Three, two, and one.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
All right, in 3, 2, 1. Okay. So the device did its job. It's pretty powerful. If you pause the video at just the right spot, you'll actually see the entire device lift up off the table. The resulting painting, however, was a little underwhelming. Even though the canvases collided with a lot of force, the final painting ended up being more of a smush than a smash. I was actually hoping to see some paint fly. I even wrapped up my camera just in case, but everything stayed pretty much in the center of the canvas. But I still have a couple of canvases left. So how can I get a better result from my next smash? I think there were two main problems. The first was that the paint was just too thick, so I added a little bit of this acrylic medium to thin it out. The second issue is a little bit easier to visualize when we're looking at a larger canvas. Since the primed fabric is stretched over a frame with nothing to support it in the middle, there's a little bit of flex to the canvas which lessens the force of the impact. This was an easy fix though. I just stuffed a little bit of cardboard behind the canvas. The thinned out paint worked well until tragedy struck. I was trying to add just a little touch of purple to the painting for contrast, but I thinned it out too much and ended up dumping a pile of it right in the middle of the canvas. The second smash went so much better. There was a satisfying splat, and some paint even went airborne. The final painting turned out cool too, even if it was a little bit purple. But as well as the painting turned out, it just didn't feel quite done. I had an idea though. I've been reading a lot about astronomy recently, and I find it fascinating that these incredibly violent, unimaginably huge collisions and explosions deep in space set in motion a series of events that resulted in the evolution of even the most delicate forms of life on our planet. Everything in space is constantly in motion, and the gravitational fields created by galaxies attract other galaxies and create new formations deep in space. It's beautiful and chaotic, but there's a flip side, which is that the formation of these clusters leaves behind giant, terrifying voids in space. Mind-bogglingly huge expanses of nothing. It's an interesting balance I wanted to recreate in my paintings. So I cut some circles of paper to represent these voids. I arranged them to create an interesting composition and then started to cut circles into the canvas. Cutting holes in a painting made me very nervous. If I mess this step up, there's really no going back. So I took things painfully slowly. I think in the end, it turned out pretty cool. The technical term for a piece of art that's divided into two canvases is a diptych. I decided to call this diptych Local Void, which is the name of the closest cosmic void to Earth. I really like how this turned out. This was a fun project, and I will definitely be doing more smashing in the future. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. It's a huge help to the channel. The music for today's video was kindly provided by my very talented friend Hunter Brown. If you are interested in hearing more of his music, I have included a link in the description below. As always, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.